90 days and we're gonna be married.
It's very different from Colombia.
Life's about to be turned upside down.
It's forever or nothing.
90 Day Fiancé returned for season 11 with familiar faces including Shekinah and Sarper, along with some newcomers who will certainly make a lasting impression, including a first-ever throuple navigating a long-distance relationship. 5 out of the 7 couples featured this time around appeared on the debut. 90 Day Fiancé's Jessica Parsons and Juan David Daza are back and facing trust issues. Viewers got to catch up with proud boy mom Jessica Parsons, who lives in Torrington, Wyoming. During the Sunday, February 16, premiere episode, she was looking forward to seeing her love, Juan David Daza, after his trip from his native Colombia, but concerned about him getting acclimated to his new life as a full-time dad in the United States, especially because of how dead her town could be. Fans previously saw Juan and Jessica welcome their first child together when they appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, Love in Paradise. Now that he was coming to stay with her, Jessica admitted that Juan could likely be the only Colombian in town. While detailing how they ended up in a romance, Jessica confessed their meeting was a little awkward. One night me, my best friend, Megan, her husband and my ex-husband were drinking, and we decided we were going to book a cruise a year from that date. And so, 1 year later came around and me and Tim, my ex-husband, were no longer together. And so we got on this cruise. The very first day we're in the casino, and this cute bartender came up to us, asking what kind of drinks we wanted. We flirted throughout the cruise, did not go hook up with the bartender Scout's honor, she said. Jessica shared that after they got closer, Juan popped the question during her 5th trip to Colombia. She later discovered that she was pregnant. I think that one doesn't fully understand what it's going to be like to be a parent, she admitted, noting that she is a mental health counselor and works quite a bit, so Juan would have to quickly adapt to step up and help me out with her family's hectic morning routine. It appears their relationship will be put to the test because her friends Megan and Amanda were skeptical of Juan's intentions. About 8 months after Juan and I had been engaged, a lady reached out to me and had said that she had met Juan on a cruise and that they had hooked up, and I was really confused by it, she said. Juan, however, reassured her that it never happened. Even though they were trying to move on from the questionable incident, she said, truthfully, I know there's something that my friends don't know, and I'm a little nervous about what will happen if that comes to light. When Juan did arrive in Denver, Colorado, he greeted his family warmly and later admitted there would be lots of pressure to adjust to his new role. Fans get to know the first ever 90 Day Fiancé throuple Matt, Amani, and Annie. Matt and Amani Jalasi have been married for 10 years and are the proud parents of 2 daughters in San Diego, California. Amani, who identifies as bisexual, said that she and her partner met in college and she fell head over heels long before they ever crossed paths with their new flame. Matt said that he was just as smitten, telling cameras, I fell in love with Amani because I've never had someone that could balance me, somebody that is truly there for me. It took us a long time to appreciate the differences, but now that we do, we make a very strong partnership, he added. Amani chimed in, we do all the typical family things, but there is one aspect of our life that is slightly less typical. Amani explained they have a girlfriend named Annie Aguirre who lives in Mexico. Every throuple is different, but we speak every day, she shared, noting they know each other's children and celebrate holidays. Matt admitted that being aware of his partner's attraction toward other women was something he got acclimated to over time. In the beginning, I would say that I was a little vulnerable to think that maybe there was something that I wasn't able to fulfill for her, he explained. The pair had been in a relationship with Annie, a mom of 3, for almost a year by the time they started filming, noting this was their first polyamorous relationship. We met in Mexico at a club. We had a lot of fun, a lot of drinks, and we ended up going back to the hotel together and just continuing to get to know each other, Amani shared. Feelings started to develop really quick. We want to bring her to live with us in the U.S., but obviously we have one tiny bit of an issue, and that is we are legally married. Our only option is to get legally divorced, so that one of us can apply for the K-1 visa and bring her to the US. During a later scene, Matt and Amani were catching up with friends on a boat outing, revealing they planned on bringing Annie to San Diego to live with them. In order to make it official, the couple revealed they would need to separate just on paper to bring Annie over on a K-1 visa. Much to the surprise of one of their friends, Kelly, who said, "You're legally tying yourself to someone you barely know." Their friend Eric also voiced his concerns, adding, "I'm mostly concerned just about overall Matt's well-being. Is he doing this because it's going to make his wife happy?" 90 Day Fiancés Shekinah Garner and Sarper Govan return with an important visa interview ahead. Sarper and Shekinah were in Ankara, Turkey, when the first episode of Season 11 premiered, and they were gearing up for an important day at the U.S. Embassy where Sarper was scheduled to do a visa interview. "I know our whole future depends on this, so I really hope it goes well," Shekinah admitted, agreeing this was a significant milestone in their relationship after getting engaged on the November 11 episode of 90 Day Fiancé. The other way, Shekinah pointed out that she has a teenage daughter in boarding school who gets 1 week off every 5 weeks. For this reason, she has to frequently travel back to America, which makes it hard to maintain an ongoing romance with Sarper from thousands of miles away. "If Sarper doesn't get approved today, I really don't see how we can survive in a long-distance relationship," she revealed, noting it is likely weighing down on Sarper as well. "I have worried every single day that Sarper would back out of this because he's been so on the fence about going to the US. Sarper has definitely tried to get me to stay in Turkey all the way up until today because he has a lot of reservations about moving to the US," she said. Plus, to further complicate things, Sarper had not yet told his parents about his interview. When the big day arrived, there were already several factors at stake. When he showed up with a solemn expression, Shekinah said, "I don't like how your face looks." Madi and Stevie make their 90-day fiancé debut, with plans to build a future together. The long-distance couple met when Stevie, a painter from Mississippi, taught online English classes, and Madi, from Tehran, Iran, was her student. "I love painting abstract art, but just recently I started painting nudes," Stevie said. "Painting is my passion, but it doesn't really pay the bills, and since I'm a single mom with 2 kids and a mortgage, I also teach English online." Stevie noted that she teaches to students all over the world, but there was one guy unlike any other student. There was an instant attraction, and Stevie said she found his good looks to be intimidating, but that he stood out because he was the only student that would show up with a list of questions to ask me. They got to know each other more on social media. Madi likes to appear that he's like this really shy guy, but he had tons of girls following him and he was shirtless, she spilled, noting that she wanted to meet him in person, but there was a lot going on in the news. "It would not have been safe for me to travel to Iran." The two ultimately met in Turkey, and Stevie revealed their physical connection was magnetic the minute we were alone. After being together in person for just 1 week, Madi proposed. They then had a 1-year wait, and his visa was approved, which she described as one of the most stressful 12 months of my life, adding, "We know at any moment a war could start, and we could lose that opportunity forever." Stevie said that her mother and sisters knew about Madi, but her father did not. "My dad bleeds red, white, and blue, so I don't know how he's going to feel about me bringing a boy from a country that supposedly hates us, but now Madi is coming tomorrow, and I need to tell my dad everything," she said. Stevie noted that her father, a mechanic, was diagnosed with a lung disease a few months back, and she did not want to cause him concern. "I don't have a plan B, and honestly, I don't know what I'll do if he says no." "You're not marrying this guy," she confessed. She later arrived at her father's home to work on her car, where she spilled the beans. "Didn't you just get out of a marriage?" he asked, to which she replied, "I know it seems crazy, and I would have never expected that, but I fell in love with this person and I like them, and that's how it is." Her father said that Stevie would be seen as his property, and Stevie assured him it would not be like that. When she asked her dad to walk her down the aisle, he said, "We'll talk about it later." It is believed Madi's arrival in Mississippi may complicate his chances to return to Iran. Mark and Mina are introduced while dealing with a new dynamic. Fans got to know Mark Bassett, a divorced pilot living in New Hampshire, and his glamorous love, Aminata Mina Mack, a Parisian model on the premiere episode. Mark's job kept him booked and busy as he flies private planes and has piloted celebrities, athletes, ex-presidents. I can't say any specific names because it's private. As for how their love blossomed, in 2019, I was on a trip as a pilot to Paris, and I was just going out to grab a drink and kind of unwind from the trip, and I just ran into this person and took the turn down another direction in my life that I didn't expect. They were long distance for 2 years, but eventually he couldn't handle the separation. So, it just clicked, and I just thought, what am I waiting for? He spilled. Mina told him she was pregnant 6 months after they got engaged. I'd say most of my friends and family are skeptical of my relationship with Mina, he revealed while visiting his daughter from his first marriage, Jordan, in Florida. Mina, for her part, also has a son named Clayton. Jordan recalled a trip to Paris for the baby's baptism to also meet Mina, which left a sour taste in her mouth. She said there was a cocktail hour, a catered dinner, and multiple open bars, which felt over the top for the occasion. Plus, Mina was hours late to the party. I kind of left Paris feeling that maybe she could be taking advantage of him, could be going after his money, could just be trying to come to the US. I really don't know, Jordan said. Mark pointed out that it will be a big problem if Mina does not get along with his daughter. Because my daughter has been a part of my life for 27 years, and that's never going to change. When he told Jordan they were thinking of having another baby now that their daughter was 2 years old and Mina was moving to the US, she reacted in shock. I almost feel like her having another baby with my dad is her way of separating and taking control over the situation. Taking control over him, further dividing the family, she said. Jordan also asked her father if he would consider a prenuptial agreement. Mark shared that he was dating a younger woman before Mina and had brought up a prenup, and the situation ended poorly. 90-Day Fiancé recap. Everything is embarrassing. Who's the Boss featured some pretty embarrassing moments for this season's couples. Nearly everyone this episode showed us they really aren't ready for the steps ahead, and none of them seem to have thought about the consequences of their actions. It's one of those episodes where the red flags are so glaring, and it's just silly for everyone to ignore them. From Brandon's parents to Tarek being straight up ignored at his own church, this was a delightfully hard-to-watch episode. Let's start with Brandon and Julia because their situation was almost adorable. Even Brandon's grandpa was begging his parents to shut up about their weird fixation on Brandon's sex life. Why do they care so much if these kids make out and give each other hickeys? Grandpa is right. They're young and in love, and they're doing what young people in love do. At the beginning of the season, I thought Brandon's parents seemed great, but now I am firmly on Julia's side in this dispute. Sure, it's their house, but trying to dictate Julia and Brandon's wedding date because of Mother's Day reveals some next-level control issues. It's also incredibly uncomfortable when you realize Brandon's parents are basically treating Julia like hired help. They seem to think she's a hired farmhand rather than Brandon's fiancé. Julia didn't agree to do farm work to earn her place in America, so I gotta be on her side when she says she will not feed those pigs again. Brandon is basically a non-entity in this dispute. He can't stand up to Julia or his parents and just awkwardly tries to please both of them. I'm glad he at least stuck to their wedding date and firmly told his mom he wasn't going to prioritize Mother's Day, though. After that, I have to put Stephanie next as the most embarrassing person to watch this episode. Stephanie only had one scene, but stole the entire show. In this brief conversation with her cousins, we discover that Stephanie has been paying for Ryan's family's rent, food, and expenses. It also turns out that the job Ryan has isn't really a job. Stephanie asked a friend to pretend to hire him, but Stephanie pays his wages, and Ryan doesn't know. So if you're keeping score, that's 2 secrets Stephanie is keeping from Ryan. She slept with his cousin, and she's paying his wages. Obviously, these two are headed toward destruction, and her cousins seem to be aware of it. They seem to see this for what it is. Stephanie got in over her head with a boy toy she was never supposed to take seriously. Natalie comes in third for not only being the most embarrassing, but also the most annoying. Natalie has finally gotten some warmer clothes, and Mike is taking her to the waterfall she's been complaining about. Mike has taken time off of work to show Natalie things he loves, like shooting off fireworks by his pond and eating giant steaks. Natalie hates all of these things, and I have to wonder if she ever listened to a word Mike said about who he is or what his interests are. I only know Mike from this show, but even I know he is a dedicated meat eater who doesn't want to live in the city. Why Natalie is trying to convince herself she can change Mike, or that he's someone else, is something I don't understand. She thinks she can turn him into a vegetarian city guy, but she doesn't even trust him. The entire root beer situation, not to mention when Mike has to explain that the fish in the pond would be okay with the fireworks, is so annoyingly frustrating that you almost see Mike get tired of Natalie the moment she refuses to finish her root beer float. If she can't trust him to not give her alcohol or kill a pond full of fish, what hope do these two have? Also, when she said he'd choose his words because she was mad at him for ordering a steak, I decided she was my enemy this season. Rebecca and Zed also didn't get that much time in Who's the Boss. But Rebecca revealing that Zed has turned her into a mattress-on-the-floor person is embarrassing enough. They were supposed to move in with Rebecca's daughter, but Rebecca decided it would be better to get their own place. She also decided it would be good for that place to be in the building she and her ex lived in. Obviously, this isn't really an issue and feels like a reality show trying to make drama out of nothing. But I actually do think Zed would have a problem with this. He's incredibly ego-driven and domineering, and if one of the neighbors mentions the ex, it could be a problem. Anyway, I'm sure Rebecca's Zed-themed bed frame will come soon enough. One of my favorite things to watch in the 90-Day franchise is when Americans think their partner is going to be impressed by things like American Breakfast or Highways, and they're not at all. This has been Tarek's game plan so far to get Hazel to fall in love with America, and obviously, it's not working. Hazel misses her son, and no amount of French toast or chicken and waffles is going to fix that. Let the woman have rice for breakfast. It also felt a little insensitive when Hazel said she missed her son and Tarek said she has a daughter now. I don't think Hazel can just switch out her affection for one child to another. Given everything Hazel has sacrificed to be in America, Tarek's idea that they get married in that sad-ass community center-looking church was incredibly insulting. Hazel is a Christian. Respect her parents and her religion, and compromise on this. I don't care how big the crystal in the corner of the room is. If Hazel wants a church, give her a church. I wonder if Tarek feels like he's already compromising around Hazel's bisexual polyamorous desires, so he gets to make demands around everything else. Then there's Yara and Jovi, who really aren't that embarrassing at all this episode. I gotta say, when this season started, I thought these two would be the train wreck and Brandon and Julia would be the boring couple that just has basic arguments, but they've switched it up. Yara and Jovi are just arguing over wearing shoes in the house and having serious conversations about whether or not they're ready for kids. Oh, and the most important part, Jovi says sorry when he's wrong and agrees to stop wearing his shoes in the house. Yara is obviously focused on fame and money, but I think she really does love Jovi and just wants to make him grow up. She's right. Wearing your shoes in the house is gross. If she didn't hate New Orleans so much, I think these two would be okay. Subscribe to our channel for daily updates. Always be the first to get news. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, USA Celebrity Corner 24. Thank you for watching. you.